What if the version of you trying to manifest is already set to fail? There's a program running, older than your thoughts, deeper than your will. It doesn't care what you want. It doesn't hear your affirmations. It was installed before you could speak, and every time you try to change your life, it whispers, "No, this isn't safe. You've been brainwashed, but not by society, not by others, by a version of your own mind, designed to keep you small." The good news? You can rewire everything, and it starts by recognizing the voice that never belonged to you. Have you ever wanted something so deeply and still felt your body tighten at the thought of receiving it? That silent recoil, that invisible tension, isn't just fear. It's a script, one you never wrote, and yet it runs every single line of your life. There's a part of you that wants to move forward, to expand, create, and finally live what you've always imagined. But right underneath that desire, something tightens, something whispers, "It won't work, not for you." And maybe you've blamed yourself. Maybe you thought you weren't aligned enough, focused enough, worthy enough. But what if it was never about that? What if your subconscious mind, the one directing 95% of your behavior, was trained long ago to reject everything your heart longs for? Because here's the truth, most manifestation teachings won't tell you. Before you ever tried to manifest a new reality, your mind was already wired to protect the old one. And that wiring, it isn't neutral. It was shaped by fear, repetition, silence, and pain. The voice that sabotages you isn't your true voice. It's an echo of someone else's fear, a parent's insecurity, a teacher's harshness, a culture of limitation, a moment of trauma your body never forgot. The voice you hear when you try to change, the one that tells you to stop, that you'll fail, that it's not for you, is a survival pattern, not a prophecy. But unless you recognize it, you'll keep manifesting through it. And here's the paradox. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest from the identity you unconsciously hold. That's why nothing seems to change, even when you think you've done everything right. Because part of you is still carrying a frequency that says, "I'm not ready, I can't trust, I don't deserve." And manifestation isn't about the surface. It's about what the field feels when you walk into a room, the unspoken rhythm of your being, the code behind your thoughts. That code, that inner programming, was not chosen, but it can be rewritten, not with force, but with awareness, rhythm, and a shift in identity. Let's pause here. Feel your body. Where does it hold back? Where does it say no, even when your mind says yes? That's the imprint, not just a thought, a neural pattern, a vibrational script. And that's where we begin, because no real manifestation happens until the old voice stops writing your future. If something inside you knows it's time to hear your true voice again, stay with me. We're about to decode the sabotage. If your body just recognized something, if a truth started to rise, like this video and subscribe to stay in this field, you're already shifting the code. Here's what they never told you. The subconscious doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your identity. It's not listening to what you say. It's watching how you feel when you say it. It's scanning your vibration. It's asking, is this safe? Is this familiar? And if what you desire feels unfamiliar, it will resist, reject, delay, until it feels safe enough to allow. This isn't punishment, it's protection. But that protection is outdated, because the version of you that was once unsafe, the child, the seeker, the one who had to dim their light to survive, is no longer here. But the voice stayed, as an echo, as a frequency, as the background code of your life. And so you try to manifest love, but your nervous system flinches. You try to call in abundance, but guilt rises. You speak affirmations, but deep inside you feel like you're lying. That isn't a lack of faith, that's old programming. And the subconscious doesn't respond to words. It responds to repetition, emotion, symbol, state. The subconscious is a sensory language, and most of us are still trying to talk to it with logic. So the real question isn't, why am I not manifesting? It's, what frequency is my subconscious still loyal to? And this loyalty isn't conscious, it's somatic, emotional, invisible. It's in the breath you hold when good things come, in the hesitation before a yes, in the quick return to old thoughts, even after big leaps. But the most powerful realization is this: you don't need to fight the voice. You just need to stop believing it's you. You are not the echo, you are the one who hears it. And once you know that, you can begin to rewrite the entire code. This is the moment where sabotage ends, not because you pushed harder, but because you remembered, that voice was never mine. Let this truth settle into your chest for a moment. Notice how your breath changes when you feel it. The real you, the manifesting you, isn't broken. It's just been speaking through a mask it never chose. And now, you're ready to take it off. But here's what's even more important than the voice. It's the code behind your choices, and it's been guiding everything you do. Have you ever noticed how some of your decisions feel automatic, like your body made the choice before your mind caught up? You say yes when your truth is no. You stay when everything in you wants to leave. You shrink right when it's time to be seen, and it feels like sabotage, but it's not. It's a code, a vibrational imprint, running silently underneath your logic. The subconscious doesn't just influence your life, it builds it. Every relationship you attract, every opportunity you allow, every cycle you repeat, it's all filtered through a hidden script that's been writing your story for years. This script isn't written in words, it's written in emotion, repetition, energy, and the most powerful part, you didn't choose it. It was installed by experiences, by survival, by moments your conscious mind doesn't even remember. Your reality isn't created by what you want, it's created by what you expect without realizing you expect it. So even when you set clear intentions, even when you visualize and affirm, if your body still holds the expectation of disappointment, betrayal, lack, that frequency becomes your signal, and the universe responds to signal. That's why desire alone isn't enough, because manifestation isn't mental, it's vibrational, and your vibration is determined by the code that runs the show. Think of your subconscious as the operating system behind your reality. You don't see it, you don't think about it, but every app you open, every interaction you experience, is filtered through that system. If the system says, stay small to stay safe, then no matter how much you dream of expansion, something will collapse just before it arrives. And maybe that's what's been happening. You begin a new chapter, a job, a love, a habit, and then you feel it, the internal friction, the invisible resistance, the almost imperceptible pullback to normal. But what if that normal was never actually yours? What if your comfort zone is just your trauma rehearsed until it became familiar? That's the invisible code. It's not made of thoughts. It's made of felt memory, emotions stored in the nervous system, patterns etched into your perception. And unless you see it, you'll keep living inside it. Take a breath, right now. Notice what your body does when you say, I am safe to receive. Does it open or contract? Does it relax or retreat? That response is not random, it's information. It's the code speaking, and it tells you where your field is still loyal to the past. Because here's the paradox. The mind dreams of the new, but the body clings to the known. Your identity, the version of you you've been playing unconsciously, was formed to survive the past, not to create the future. So to truly manifest, you don't need to just change what you want. You need to update who you believe you are. That update doesn't happen through thinking harder. It happens through repatterning, rehearsing safety, rewriting the signals. Because reality bends to who you are, not what you say. You're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because your system is still loyal to an outdated identity, an identity that was taught to stay quiet, to not ask for too much, to settle, to survive, not thrive. But you're not that version anymore. And the moment you stop confusing that voice with your truth, a quantum shift begins. If this is resonating, stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll show you how this invisible code gets dissolved, not through force, but through frequency. Let's talk about choice, not the surface choice, but the one that happens before thought, the choice made in your field, the choice your body has rehearsed. That's the real decision maker. So when you choose to sabotage, you're not broken, you're repeating. But repetition is programmable, and what was once automated can become sacred. Imagine standing at a crossroads every day. One path is lit by who you've been, the other by who you could become. Which one does your body trust more? Because it's not about the light, it's about what feels familiar. This is the root of all unconscious manifestation. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you're still resonating with. And what you resonate with is what your code holds. So here's the new question. What would it feel like to make decisions from your future self instead of your old survival patterns? What would shift in your voice, your posture, your presence? Because reprogramming begins in the moment you notice the old script. Not judge it, not fight it, just see it. And from that seeing, the choice changes. You're not here to live on repeat. You're here to remember that your identity is not fixed. It's fluid, it's vibrational, and it can be rewritten. But but it starts by feeling what's still guiding your now. So ask yourself gently, who is choosing my life today? The version I inherited, or the one I'm ready to become? And if the answer still feels unclear, it might be because pain has been speaking louder than truth. In the next moment, we'll explore how emotional pain becomes a loop and how to break free from its frequency. What if your pain isn't a problem to fix, but a loop to understand? Most people experience pain as failure, a block, an interruption in the path of manifestation. But what if pain is just the body remembering something it was never allowed to release? Because pain doesn't start in the present. It's a signal from the past, echoing forward, until you hear it, feel it, integrate it. Pain is not an enemy. It's a compass, a map written in sensation, pointing to where your energy is still stuck, where your frequency has collapsed into contraction, where your nervous system has memorized fear instead of trust. And if you ignore it, you stay in the loop. But if you feel it, you find the exit. Let's bring this closer. Think about a recurring emotion in your life, something that arrives often, unexpected, overwhelming. Maybe it's rejection, abandonment, not enoughness, invisibility. Now feel where it lands in your body, chest, stomach, throat. That's not just a reaction, that's a memory, encoded, stored, replaying. The pain you feel isn't who you are. It's what hasn't moved through you yet, because the body remembers everything the mind tries to forget. It holds stories not yet spoken, and those stories become patterns. Patterns of avoidance, patterns of sabotage, patterns of fear disguised as logic. But here's the truth. Those patterns aren't you. They're protection, and protection can be released. Because the version of you who learned to hurt didn't have the tools to feel it safely. So the pain stayed, as tension, as belief, as identity. And now, when you try to create something new, love, success, expansion, that pain surfaces. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're finally aligned enough to feel what was never resolved. This is not sabotage. This is readiness. Pain isn't the end of the path. It's the doorway to a higher frequency. But you have to be willing to see it as such, to meet it, to breathe with it, to ask it, what are you still trying to protect? Because every recurring pain is an outdated contract, written in the language of survival. And now, you are free to break it. Let's visualize this. Close your eyes. Go back to a moment in childhood, a moment when you felt unseen, unheard, unsafe. Don't judge it, just observe. Now imagine the version of you who survived that moment, the one who became quiet, or strong, or pleasing, or invisible. That version protected you, but it also created the loop. And today, you don't need that loop anymore. Your body is still running programs based on a reality that no longer exists. But here's the power you now have. Awareness changes the signal. Presence rewrites the memory. Because when you feel pain with consciousness, you free the frequency, not by fixing it, but by witnessing it fully. That's how the loop dissolves. If something opened inside you, if a piece of the past just became visible, pause. Like this video and subscribe. Not to follow us, but to keep this frequency alive inside you. You don't heal pain by running from it. You transform it by walking through it with a new vibration. That vibration starts with choice, not to bypass, but to become a new witness. Because your old self saw pain as danger, but your new self sees it as signal, as the key to reclaiming the parts you abandoned. And when you reclaim those parts, your frequency rises, not through force, but through integration. Pain is what the old self uses to keep control, but presence is how the new self takes the lead. The next time pain shows up, don't numb, don't fight, don't flee. Pause, breathe, feel the message. It might say, I'm ready to be seen. I'm not a wall, I'm a portal. And when you walk through, reality shifts. You see, pain is the field asking for coherence. It's a part of your system that's still out of rhythm, and manifestation is just coherence in motion. So when you integrate the pain, you don't just feel better, you become a different signal, a new point of attraction, a new self, encoded. And from that self, everything aligns differently. But how do we speak to the subconscious in a way that it actually listens? That's what comes next, and it changes everything. If you've been trying to convince your subconscious to change, you've been speaking the wrong language, because the subconscious doesn't understand logic. It doesn't care about your plans. It isn't moved by arguments. It responds to rhythm, emotion, safety, repetition. That's the language. And most people never learned how to speak it. Think of your subconscious as a child, innocent, sensitive, deeply loyal, but also impressionable, protective, literal. If you tell it, "I am abundant," but your body vibrates scarcity, your breath is shallow, your tone is rushed, the subconscious hears, "This isn't safe, this isn't real," and it resists, not because it hates you, but because it believes it's protecting you. The subconscious isn't your enemy, it's your most faithful protector, but it's been following the wrong instructions. Instructions formed in childhood, reinforced by repetition, etched into your nervous system by the tone of voices that weren't even yours. So when you affirm something new and nothing shifts, it's not because it didn't work. It's because the frequency of your affirmation didn't match your inner truth. Let's go deeper. Your subconscious mind is always listening, but not to what you say. It listens to how you feel when you say it, what you believe as you speak, the images that arise in your mind, the tone of your inner voice, the sensations in your body. These are the real affirmations. This is the real message. So if you want to reprogram your subconscious, you must stop talking to it and start feeling with it. Reprogramming is not just mental repetition, it's vibrational immersion. It's living the new belief in your senses, even before it shows up in your reality. This is why visualization works, not because it creates reality from fantasy, but because it trains your system to feel familiar with the new frequency. And once it feels familiar, it becomes safe. And once it's safe, it becomes real. Close your eyes. Say the phrase, "I trust life." Now listen. What arises? Does your body expand or tense? Do your thoughts resist or agree? Is there silence or static? That response is your current program. And the goal isn't to force a new one. It's to gently install a new rhythm until it becomes the new baseline. Your subconscious doesn't shift through pressure. It shifts through presence. That means slow repetition, symbolic imagery, emotional coherence, felt safety. These are the portals, and you don't need to push them open. You just need to sit with them until they open from the inside. If something here landed in your body, not just your mind, subscribe and stay in this rhythm, because this is the field where reprogramming becomes real. So how do we create change that actually lasts? We train the subconscious like we train the body, through consistent input, through rhythm, through energy. You wouldn't go to the gym once and expect transformation. You wouldn't water a seed once and expect a tree. So why do we speak an affirmation once and expect our whole life to shift? Because transformation is ritual. And in the next block, you'll learn exactly how to build that ritual, not from pressure, but from permission. You're about to receive the blueprint, the vibrational ritual that rewires the voice, the field, and the future. This is where the real shift begins. If your mind was programmed to protect the past, then the only way to change your future is to give your system a new rhythm to follow. That's what this ritual is. It's not about doing more. It's about becoming the new frequency, long enough and deep enough for your subconscious to recognize it as home. And when something becomes home, you stop resisting it. You start receiving it. Let's begin. This ritual has 3 parts: stillness and observation, repetition, and anchoring, emotional rehearsal of the new identity. You'll only need 10 minutes a day, but what you create in those 10 minutes will start to reshape the other 23 hours, because frequency compounds, and the subconscious listens to what is repeated, especially when it's felt. 1. Stillness and observation. Start by sitting or lying down. Let your breath slow, not as a technique, but as an invitation. Notice your body. Notice the places that are tight, guarded, tense. Don't fix, just witness. Say silently, "You don't have to protect me anymore." This is where reprogramming begins. Not with affirmation, but with presence. Not with action, but with listening. Your nervous system won't shift if it doesn't feel seen. So take 1 minute, just one, to observe the resistance without resistance. That is the first key. Stillness as signal, silence as command. 2. Repetition and anchoring. Now, choose one phrase, one that your old identity rejected, but your new identity is ready to embody. Examples: I am safe to receive. Life supports me. I allow abundance now. My presence creates reality. Speak it, slowly, not with effort, but with rhythm. Let the words land. Let them echo. Feel their shape in your chest. Notice where your body agrees and where it resists. That noticing is where the anchor grows. The subconscious accepts what is repeated with emotion. So you don't need 20 affirmations. You need one, felt deeply, spoken with presence, received with breath. Repeat it 5-7 times, in rhythm, in your own voice. After each repetition, pause and breathe. Let the phrase soak in like water into soil. This is not recitation, it's embedding. Now place your hand on your heart, or your belly, or wherever the phrase feels most true. This is your anchor point. Every time you speak the phrase, touch that place. So the body starts to associate the new identity with sensation. This is how you rewire, by connecting words, with feeling, with touch. The subconscious learns through association. So give it one. If this ritual stirred something inside you, stay connected. There's a full guided reprogramming created for this process. You'll find it in the pinned comment. 3. Emotional rehearsal of the new identity. Now, close your eyes. Let the phrase fade into the background. And imagine, you've already become the version who lives this truth. Feel it. Where do you wake up? How do you move through your day? How do people respond to your energy? What choices feel natural? This isn't fantasy. This is training. You're giving your subconscious a new blueprint through felt experience. Let your body remember it. Breathe like that version. Walk like that version. Feel like that version, even for 1 minute, because 1 minute of coherence is more powerful than hours of scattered thinking. Your subconscious doesn't need you to believe yet. It just needs to feel the new frequency long enough to trust it. That's why we rehearse, not to fake it, but to familiarize. You are becoming familiar with expansion, with ease, with trust, and as that familiarity grows, manifestation becomes not a goal, but a response, a side effect of your signal. You can end the ritual here, or carry it with you. Use the anchor point during the day. When fear rises, when doubt appears, touch the place where you anchored the phrase, and speak it again, softly, within. This is how new code becomes consistent. This is how reality bends, not through effort, but through frequency. That's the ritual, daily, simple, sensory, alive. And as you repeat it, you won't just think differently, you'll start to feel different. And when you feel different, you choose different. And when you choose different, reality recalibrates. But here's the magic you haven't seen yet. The version of you that already lives this truth is waiting for you. And in the next block, we'll meet them. What if the future version of you isn't ahead of you, but within you, already remembering the path back, the one who already lives in flow, who doesn't overthink, overtry, overfix, the one who walks with clarity, who trusts their yes, who doesn't contract when good things come. They already exist, and they're not waiting to be built. They're waiting to be accessed. You don't have to become them. You have to remember them, because the frequency of your future self is already encoded in your field, like a hidden file on a computer. It's not visible until you click the right path. And now, you're clicking. Let's imagine something. Take a deep breath, close your eyes for a moment, and see yourself, not 5 years from now, not even 1, but the version of you who already feels what you long to feel. Now, present, real. They exist beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond loops. Not because they never felt those things, but because they stopped identifying with them. They stepped out of the loop and into the code. This version of you already knows. They know what boundaries feel like without guilt. They know what receiving feels like without shame. They know how to say yes without needing a reason, without needing permission. They are not someone else. They are you, without the old script. And right now, you can listen to their voice. Ask them, what do you see that I still can't? Wait for the answer. Not in words, but in feeling. It may arrive as a calm, a certainty, a quiet inner nod. That's how they speak, not to impress, but to guide. Because your future self isn't some idealized image. They are the part of you that's already aligned, waiting for you to tune in. They don't need fixing. They don't demand perfection. They are not a goal. They are a memory of wholeness, a blueprint of coherence, a pulse you can now feel in your own hands. So here's the practice. Every time you face a decision, a reaction, a crossroad, pause. Ask, what would my future self do? Not to impress, but to align. Let their frequency lead. Let their presence inform your tone, your posture, your next step. You'll notice something. The more you ask, the closer they feel, the more familiar they become. And one day, you'll stop asking, because you'll realize they've always been here. If something echoed here, if you felt your future self rising through these words, drop a comment below. I remember. Let the algorithm become your witness. So many people wait for external proof to become this version. They wait for money to feel secure. They wait for love to feel whole. They wait for success to feel worthy. But that's backwards, because the version who receives those things already feels that way, not because they earned it, but because they became the frequency that matched it. This is how manifestation works, not as reward, but as resonance. And when you walk as your future self, reality adjusts, not instantly, but undeniably. The way people respond to you, the way synchronicities appear, the way your body feels, starts to shift, because you're no longer vibrating from need, you're vibrating from truth. Let this land. You don't have to be perfect to be in alignment. You just have to be honest with what you feel, with what you're ready for, with what part of you already knows. Because truth is coherence, and coherence is power. But there's one more shift to make, a quiet one, the release of pressure, the art of allowing. Have you noticed how the more you try to manifest something, the further away it seems to move? You write the affirmations, you visualize, you take aligned action, and yet, it still feels like something's off, like the very effort is creating resistance. And here's why. Because when you try to force energy, you collapse your own field. Manifestation doesn't happen through pressure, it happens through coherence. And coherence is not something you push toward, it's something you fall into, like an exhale, like the quiet after the storm, like the moment you stop trying and start allowing. Let's sit with this. You've spent years believing that change requires tension, that desire demands struggle, that you have to prove you're ready. But what if the field doesn't respond to your effort? What if it responds to your openness? Because effort comes from lack. It says, I don't have it yet. But allowing says, I'm already aligned with it. And the universe mirrors your statement. When you move from force to flow, manifestation becomes less about chasing and more about remembering what it feels like to trust, to be held, to breathe without clenching. Because what you're calling manifestation might just be you finally learning how to receive. And receiving is a frequency. Let's do something simple. Take a deep breath. Now say softly, I allow. That's it. Notice what happens. Do you tense? Do you doubt? Do you check to see if it's working? That's the old mind. But the true signal, the one that changes everything, is the one you hold without needing proof. You don't have to force your next reality. You just have to stop resisting it. That's the real sabotage. Not the lack of action, but the constant friction between who you are and who you're pretending you need to be. Allowing is not passive. It's not giving up. It's choosing presence over pressure, truth over performance, trust over control. So ask yourself, where am I still trying to be enough? Where am I manifesting from fear, not frequency? Because the moment you stop trying, you start tuning in. And that tuning is the bridge. If this softened something in you, if you just remembered how to breathe again, like this video and subscribe. Let this be your ritual of return. You were not designed to hustle for your truth. You were made to hold it, to feel it, to become so attuned to it that the field responds like a tuning fork, not because you begged, but because you vibrated. And that's what allowing really means. Becoming the version that no longer resists the very thing you say you want. Try this. For one full day, stop trying. Don't push. Don't chase. Just move. From coherence. Choose what aligns. Say no where you once said yes. Say yes where you used to freeze. And watch what starts to find you. Because when you stop trying to manifest, you become the one who magnetizes. And that shift? It's not conceptual, it's cellular. Your nervous system recognizes safety, your field expands, your presence deepens, and reality begins to reconfigure itself around the truth you finally stopped hiding from. And when you realize this, you'll understand something even deeper. The code was never lost. It was always inside you, waiting for your permission to activate. What if you were never meant to install a new program, but to remember the one that was buried beneath the noise? Because you weren't born with doubt. You didn't enter this life questioning your worth. That came later, layer by layer, loop by loop, until the original signal, your true frequency, got muted. But here's what never changed. The code is still intact, underneath the noise, underneath the fear, underneath the pretending. Reprogramming isn't creation, it's remembrance. You're not building something that didn't exist. You're brushing away the dust. You're peeling off the labels. You're letting go of who you thought you had to be to feel safe, seen, or worthy. And what you'll find underneath is a vibrational blueprint. Exact, alive, ready. Let's go to that place now. Breathe. Feel your spine. Feel the ground. Now say softly, I remember who I am. Don't try to believe it. Just let it echo. Let it move, because that phrase isn't about knowledge, it's about recognition. A cellular shift, a vibrational return. You didn't come here to be perfect. You came here to be coherent. And coherence doesn't mean constant joy. It means honesty. It means integrity between your feeling and your expression. It means being so vibrationally true that the field cannot help but match you. That's the code. And it's not out there, it's in you. Think of every time you felt fully alive, even for a second. Moments of flow, of ease, of knowing without needing to explain. Those moments weren't created by the world, they were remembered by you, because your system already knows the feeling of truth, of alignment, of yes. And the more you follow those moments, the more the code reactivates. This is what we mean by frequency. Your life is not responding to your desire, it's responding to your signal. And your signal becomes clear when you stop overriding your own truth with what the world taught you to be. So the question is no longer, what should I do? But, what part of me am I ready to stop abandoning? Because when you reclaim that part, the signal shifts, and everything begins to organize itself around your wholeness. If this landed for you, don't let it fade. There's a next step, and it begins in the next video. Click when you feel it, not from pressure, but from recognition. Your body will know when it's time to cross. So here's what we've uncovered. You were not sabotaging. You were surviving. You were not broken. You were looping. You were not failing. You were still believing an old instruction. But today, the code has shifted. Because now, you remember, you are the field. You are the signal. You are the one you've been waiting to re-become. And that changes everything. If you want this remembrance to deepen, replay this ritual. Anchor this frequency. Let it live inside your day. And when you're ready for the next expansion, click through. Your next version is already calling you forward. What if the field you're trying to reach is already moving through you? You've been told that reality is something out there, a thing to attract, to chase, to manipulate. But the truth is simpler and far more powerful. You are not inside the field. You are the field, shaping itself from within. Let that land for a moment, because once you stop trying to change what's outside and start attuning to what's already present within, everything responds differently. Opportunities appear not as rewards, but as reflections. People show up not as saviors, but as mirrors. And life becomes a co-creation, not a competition. That is the shift, from pressure to presence. Let's remember what we've walked through. You saw that the voice stopping you was never truly yours. You recognized that pain is just the echo of what was never fully felt. You discovered how to speak the language of your subconscious, not with force, but with feeling. You practiced the ritual. You met your future self. You allowed instead of forced. You remembered the code. And now, something inside you has recalibrated. This isn't just awareness. This is frequency. Because frequency isn't an idea. It's a state, a tone, a presence, a field. And that field is now clearer, more attuned, more alive. Not because you became someone new, but because you stopped being someone false. That is the real reprogramming. A return to coherence. Close your eyes. One last time. Breathe. Feel your body. Now say silently, I am the field. I am the frequency. I am the code. Let those words echo. Let them anchor, not as concepts, but as memory. Because somewhere inside you, you've always known. If you feel this truth vibrating in you, the next video will unlock something even deeper. It's about the emotional charge hidden inside every intention, and how to align your heart and brain to manifest from clarity, not contradiction. Click only when it calls, and let the next portal open when your signal is ready. Remember, you are not trying to create reality. You are reality, remembering how to become itself. That is the quantum shift. That is the next level, and it's already on its way to meet you.